touchdown passes last year. This one's knocked up. Bowers tips it to himself, and he'll score.
Snaps it anyway. Greer lobs it in the air. Whoa, he has trouble with the snap, and the ball is free. It's picked up by Michigan State. Jalen Watts Jackson, and he scores on the last.
And that ball's floating in the air and picked up by Kendall Wright. Touchdown Bears.
Here's a blast, and Klubnik didn't see it coming. He got blasted by Kalen DeLoach, who has the ball and is heading toward the end zone.
Good.
What is going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of College Football Talk, where we talk college football. We got Week 6 preview this week. Dylan, how are you today?
Oh, I'm great. You know, it's a good night. It's a good Thursday night here.
Thursday night, yes. We got a jam-packed show for you guys today, previewing a bunch of games. We got upset alert and best bets all here tonight. As always, make sure you guys are subscribing to the show and continue to watch us on YouTube, listen to on Spotify. Links are in bio for Spotify if you're on YouTube.
Yep.
If you're just trying to search us up, remember it is just College Football Talk with Hunter and Dylan on Spotify. So you can get us there. And again, if you're on YouTube, just go to the link or search us up either our old name at Knowles and Docs Podcast, which is still for some reason pulling us up, which is awesome. Or College Football Talk with Hunter and Dylan also works too. So I think, Dylan, you ready to hop right into this?
Yeah.
Awesome. So we will hop right into our first game. We got Texas versus Oklahoma. Red River Rivalry.
Oh, yeah.
The final Red River Rivalry in the Big 12, at least. So there's that. I mean,
it's a weird thing to say, isn't it?
It's very weird.
It's the last time these two teams will face off as Big 12, will, potentially face off. And as Big 12 opponents, obviously we don't know a Big 12 title game. You never know. You never know.
No divisions. They could be in for a rematch. These two are the only two remaining undefeated. Watch out for the Mountaineers, though.
Okay.
Closing in. 4-1, 2-0 in conference play, Dylan. That's all I'm saying. Watch out for Neil Brown. Trust the climb. That's all I'm saying.
But, this is going to be a really good game. To me, at least, I think this is going to be a really good game.
I think anything better than what happened last year when it was 49-0. That's if they can get on the board, that'll be great. Remember, Dylan Gabriel didn't play last year in this game. I think he was.
Yeah, he was hurt.
He got hurt, so definitely going to be hopefully a different game with him in.
I do think call me crazy. I think last year if they would have just put in General Booty, maybe we would have seen some magic. But
really,
just saying,
we really would have kicked him in the butt.
But a couple of things to say about this game. Texas is favored by Vegas by 6 points. Am I correct on that one?
Yeah. Line dropped to 5, and over/under is 60.5.
Okay. But I did notice Oklahoma is favored by ESPN. Their metrics gave Oklahoma like a 60%, I believe, 64, which is weird, right?
A little bit, but we've seen this before.
I think
Texas or Bama favored, and Bama won or ended up not being FBI favored or something like that.
Yeah, so Bama was favored by Vegas, but not FBI favored. But to be fair, I believe last I looked at FBI, it's Ohio State and then Oklahoma's number 2 by FBI, which is weird.
Yeah. So I'm really zoning in as the biggest takeaway for me in this game is I think it's going to be who can stop each other in the passing game, or can Oklahoma's offense just keep rolling? I mean, they come in averaging about 352 yards to the air a game. Dylan Gabriel is 4th in the country in touchdowns. He already has 15, 7th in passing yards. Texas is total defense only ranks 43rd in the country. And trying to see. But Texas is 25th in the country in passing offense. But they like to be more balanced because Jonathan Brooks is a bell cow in the backfield. I mean, he's 3rd in the country in rushing yards. So why not? I mean, they come in averaging almost 200 yards a game on the ground. So it's going to be a very high scoring affair. I think you're going to see a good old fashioned Big 12 shootout, as they like to call it, where neither team is going to be able to stop each other, I think, on defense, or as much as maybe they want. I would lean towards Texas and defense right now, but I do think that, Oklahoma's defense is much improved from last year. I mean, last year they were abysmal.
Yeah.
But, this year, really good on offense, solid on defense. They actually ranked 1st in the country in interceptions, 10 already this year. So I think that's going to be a big one. And I don't know how you feel, but I think Texas is too good. If you can't stop them, they'll just run the ball on you. Or if they need to, they'll pass the ball because they got weapons on the outside. So they're going to have to force turnovers. And OU's really good at that.
Yeah. I do think, even though Dylan Gabriel has better numbers this year than Quinn Ewers, I do think Quinn Ewers has looked like a better quarterback this year against tougher competition.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not Gabriel's fault he hasn't played in Alabama and Tuscaloosa, but Quinn Ewers did, and he looked fantastic. I mean, that's just a simple fact of the matter. And I think with Texas, you get the opportunity that Texas not only has, like you said, a amazing running game. How much are they averaging? Like 200?
They're averaging 191.8, so just a little bit off.
And then Quinn Ewers is still throwing, looking at his numbers, around 280 a game, it looks like. 285 a game.
It's about 285, 286.
I mean, they have a really balanced offense.
They do. And that's why they're so dangerous.
Exactly. I don't think Oklahoma is, I think Oklahoma's a lot improved from last year, right?
I think it is. Yeah, very much improved.
But I don't think Oklahoma is at Texas's level yet, if that makes sense.
Maybe not now. I do think Venables took a big step forward. And like I said, I think especially on the defensive side, they have the 10 turnovers. And a nice little key stat for you, I think, which could be a big center point around this game, where, teams, converting, I'll be talking about like third downs. If you have a good third down, conversion rate, you are really going to do well because you're staying on the field, keeping the drives going. So Texas is 56th in the country in third down conversion percentage. It's about 42%. They're 29 of 69. Nice. Oklahoma is 10th in the nation in third down defense. They've about 27%. So,
I do think you do have to give the asterisk there that if you look at Oklahoma's schedule this year.
I mean, they're still doing what they need to do, though. I understand they've only played Iowa State, Cincinnati, who they'll say Tulsa, and SMU,
and Arkansas State.
I mean, SMU's gonna be an ACC team next year.
Yeah, it looks
Cincinnati's
like SMU
a Big
gave
12.
them the toughest competition too.
I mean, outside of Alabama, Wyoming, Baylor, Kansas without their starting quarterback and Rice isn't really anything scary either.
Yeah.
So,
No, but what I mean is that I think Texas is a massive challenge.
Oh, for sure. I'm not downgrading Texas.
Yeah, no, I just think it makes their previous competition look a lot worse. I think Texas has played better teams in Oklahoma this year already, in Alabama, and I think Texas is built to beat teams like Oklahoma.
For sure.
Yeah, like they can. Not only do they have the ability to put up explosive plays, but they're one of the few teams that can, legitimately have a 5-minute drive to waste a ton of time in the middle of a quarter.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Like Steve
or
Sarkisian is an offensive genius.
he is. Oh, excuse me. Sorry,
No, you're good.
my case fell back here.
Mhm.
The what I think the biggest thing, that Oklahoma
Yeah.
has to do
Mhm.
is, stay on the field. I don't think they
Yeah.
want to get into a shootout or let Texas dictate terms on offense. They've got to be able to score points when they're out there and win the turnover battle. Like I said,
Mhm.
otherwise, I like you're saying, they're so balanced. Jonathan
Yeah.
Brooks, they got Quinn Ewers, Xavier
Mhm.
Worthy, A.D. Mitchell. All these guys, they'll just kill you.
It's the thing is, I just think Texas is so much more talented
Right?
than Oklahoma. That right now,
Yeah.
that if you're Oklahoma, you almost have to come into this game and be like, we have to dictate the terms. Ugh. Dictate the terms, right? You
Yeah.
can't let it become a shootout,
Mhm.
and you have to convert on third down, and you have to make Texas punt.
For sure. For sure.
If they get into a shootout, it's over. Forget about it.
Mm.
They're not
Yep.
winning a shootout versus Texas.
Mhm. What is your prediction in this game?
I think Texas wins a close one, 31-28.
Okay. I think Texas wins 37 to 27.
Okay.
I think Texas pulls away late. I think it's close, but Texas scores a touchdown, tacks on an insurance field goal, and then just
Hmm.
kind of stops Oklahoma in their tracks.
Yeah.
But I do think it's a very close game throughout. Maybe just a late score. So kind of like the Bama game went, where they
Hmm.
like a touchdown, a knockout punch, kind
Yeah.
of set
Oh,
Oklahoma, or will send Oklahoma packing.
I just think that this kind of game, the environment is going to be rocking. 100,000 people in the crowd,
Oh yeah,
200,000 people outside of the stadium.
with the
It's
festival and the fair going on, college game day
exactly.
will be there.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the big game. So
Hmm.
looking forward to
That's
that. It's a
that's
noon
gonna be fun.
kickoff. Noon
That's gonna
kick.
be fun. I hate that noon kick though.
Noon kick, 11 o'clock start because it's central.
Hmm.
Bright and early, boys. Get ready.
Oh yeah.
All right. So going from the daytime noon kick to the 7 o'clock kick
Oh yeah.
down in the classic city in God's country. We're in Athens, Georgia. The top-ranked Bulldogs somehow still. It was a little surprised. I thought they would
Hmm.
drop after last week.
Yeah.
They stay at the number 1 spot, but here comes Kentucky, number 20 in the country. We got a
Hmm.
top 20 matchup here in
Yep.
Athens, where Kentucky comes off a game where they crushed Florida on the ground. Ray Davis runs for like a career high,
Yep.
and Georgia goes to Auburn, sneaks out of there with a win. Carson
Hmm.
Beck, in my opinion, really grew up in that game.
Yeah.
Brock Bowers had another Brock Bowers game, and
Hmm.
they did enough to win.
Yeah.
Now here they come. These two teams always play physical. It's always a lower scoring game. I think the unders hit in like 4 of the last 5 meetings these two teams have
Yeah.
had. I think the last time they overhit was in 18. So yeah.
Mm.
So
It's like 5 years ago.
yeah, it was like
No.
34-17 was to the win. So
Mm.
like last year was 16-6.
Yeah. I remember last year's game.
That was a weird game. But
Hmm.
anyway, so now here comes Kentucky. You
Yeah.
see what Auburn did on the ground against Georgia, and you're like, oh, Kentucky's going to have no problem.
Hmm.
Take away the one big run by Peyton Thorne and eliminate 61 yards, I believe it was. So cuts it to about 150-ish.
Hmm.
That game, big difference.
Yeah.
And that was like a 2-quarterback system. They're more of like a almost like an option type team where they're just trying to fool the linebackers, get
Hmm.
them out in space. Where Kentucky's we're gonna hand the ball off and we're
Yeah.
gonna try to run it down your throat. And I think that fits better into what Georgia likes to play in.
Hmm.
They won't. I can tell you right now, Kentucky ain't doing that on Saturday. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, that's the one saving grace is Kentucky. Well, he didn't play really at all against Florida. Devin Leary is a talented quarterback. We've seen him be able to put up good passing games when he was at NC State.
He just
So
hasn't shown it yet, though.
that's the thing is I do think though if he's put the pressure on him, I think he can perform.
We'll
I think
see.
we'll see. Yeah, I think we'll see what they
I mean,
decide to do.
he's 95th in the country in completion percentage at only 57%.
Yeah.
And he's ranked 88th in the country in QBR at 47.5. 10 touchdowns, 5 interceptions is his TD to INT ratio. I
Mhm.
mean, they're 77th in pass offense. That's Georgia's, what is it, 8th, or Beck's 8th in passing yards, 10th
Mhm.
in passing offense. People don't realize that Georgia is averaging almost 40 points a game.
Yeah.
But people, Georgia fans, so Mike Bobo, they need to start, get back to how it used to be. Yeah, it
Yeah.
used to be. I mean, they're playing well. You're getting a new quarterback acclimated to this. You've been down a couple injury. You've been down with receivers and running backs
Yeah.
all season. It's like these guys are just getting back into form. What I do think the biggest thing in this game is, the rushing D for Kentucky versus the rushing offense for Georgia, I think is
Mhm.
quietly going to be the biggest thing. It's also going to be the third downs again. So
Yeah.
Kentucky's only allowing about 75 yards a game on the ground
Mhm.
defensively. 9th in rushing D. It's only giving about 2.5 yards a carry. Georgia comes in ranked 76th. They haven't really run the ball well. Deshaun Edwards
Yeah.
has done well. They've had to pull Dylan Bell from the receiver spot, put him in the backfield. That's how low they've been on injury wise. I mean, Kendall Milton hasn't been healthy at all this year, so that's going to be
We'll
a
see.
big thing, because is Kentucky going to make Georgia one dimensional? Is this almost feels like a game where both teams could eliminate each other's run game and make this like a
Mhm.
one dimensional kind of ball game where
Yeah.
neither team can get the run game going. So which quarterback's going
Mhm.
to step up?
And I do think Kentucky has a better defense than Auburn does. So I don't.
Oh,
I mean, when thinking about it, I don't think that Brock Bowers is one of the best players on the planet, but I don't think he's going to get as many open opportunities against this Kentucky defense. You've got to be more creative with him.
he had a big
'Cause-
game on his freshman year against them.
yeah, but what I mean is that I think Kentucky is going to put. He's in their game plan, right? Like he's
Yeah.
specifically being game planned for out of any of the guys. So I think you're really going to have to rely on the possibility of Carson Beck stepping up and having to throw to other guys. And we're going to see if he can do it. I mean,
And
he looked really good against that second half against Auburn, but
yeah.
I think this is a bigger test.
Yeah, I mean, it's guys like Ra Thomas, Dominic
Mhm.
Lovett, Lad McConkey, if he's healthy
Yeah.
out there, Arian Smith. Like these guys are going to have to step up,
Mhm.
because I can tell you, linebackers for Kentucky, really good,
Yeah.
and they'll do their best to keep Bowers in check. I feel like Bowers
Yeah.
will have his stuff.
Bowers will get his.
Bowers is so
Yeah.
more effective, not even getting open. It's
Mhm.
the yards after contact.
Yeah.
He's one of the best in the country in that stat.
And I think that's what Kentucky's going to try to limit. So
Yeah.
they'll probably have a guy on him, and then they'll have another spy
Yeah, keep an eye on
ready
him.
to. Yeah, maybe they can't. He's not going to break through tackles because he's going to get doubled.
And if you're Georgia, knowing that Ray Davis is the engine that gets this offense going, 4th in the country in rushing yards,
Yeah.
do you stack the box and rely on your safeties who are plenty good enough? You have
Mhm.
Bullard, you have Tyke Smith, you have Starks who occasionally plays back there.
Yeah.
You have do almost what you did against Tennessee. You do against Tennessee, where you kind of just you put 5 or 6, you put about 5 in the box, and you leave
Mhm.
everyone else on their man. Play man to
Yeah.
man. Let them on their trust your cornerbacks,
Mhm.
and you say, listen, let's see it. Give it your best shot, because we're
Yeah.
going to stack the box. We're not going to let you run.
Mhm.
And if they do that, and I think they might, and they're going to force Leary to throw. That's not
Yeah.
very. I think that plays right into what Georgia wants people to do.
Mhm.
They're 3rd in the country in INTs. Tyke
Yeah.
Smith is top 10 in picks already with 3. They're 18th in the country in passing yards allowed. Like I
Mhm.
said, 77th is on passing offense for Kentucky.
Yeah.
You look at Leary's numbers, he hasn't shown it yet, anything special, but 5 INTs already to 10 picks or 10
Mhm.
touchdowns is not good. A sneaky stat for you, a little key stat for you, a paper pop. So Georgia is notorious playing in Athens, especially big games.
Yeah.
Notorious for opposing teams with penalties. Pre-snap penalties, especially. Here's one for you. Kentucky 93rd in the country out of 130 in penalty yards. Sneaky stat right there. That pre-snap penalties will kill that offense because what do they want to do? Run the ball first and second down. Set up third and manageable. You start the chains back 5-10 yards back. Now you take yourself out of the series.
Yeah.
So, and third down conversion. Offensively, Georgia 7th in the country in third down percentage, 55%. Kentucky's defense is 92nd in the country. Not good if you're Kentucky.
Yeah.
They're giving up they're allowing third downs to complete into first downs 42% of the time. Offensively, they're 47th, where Georgia is 6th in the country in third down D. They're only allowing third down conversions up to 25%. I mean, 8 of 13 last week. This has every making to be, I think, a Georgia breakout game, in my opinion. I don't know how you feel.
I mean, I'm 50-50 on it because I'm looking here and, well, you said, Georgia is top 10 in passing offense, right? 25% of that production is Bowers.
Doesn't matter.
If there's a bad situation
Missouri,
where Brock Bowers is not able to get open, is there a possibility that Georgia's offense comes to a crawl?
I don't think. I think they have too many weapons outside that are good enough to be fine.
Yeah.
Beck is plenty good enough. Well, obviously Beck's going to be probably more often than not look for Bowers as the first option. Because why not?
My fear would be if he tries to force it to Bowers.
I think Beck knows better enough. I mean, I think he knows better enough. Like you saw last week, a lot of times Bowers wasn't there. I mean, he was getting double teamed. So a lot of the third down conversions last week, if you go back and watch, was Ladd McConkey, was Rod Thomas. Like those were the guys who were stepping up. And I do kind of believe what you're saying. Like they're gonna find a way to, I think, keep him in check.
Yeah.
Now it could be wrong, and Bowers might go off for another $120.
Yeah. I mean, and that's completely possible. But I do think more than Auburn was able to. Kentucky has the guys to be able to do that.
Yes,
the guys to be able to put more pressure on Beck to throw to other guys, and see if he'll get off his Bowers. If he'll get off Bowers and onto, like, I guess is McConkey playing or is he?
He should be. He played last week and he played the full game. They had a problem. I think they had him on a snap count just because it was his first game back.
Gotcha.
But he played in big time spots, so I think he was targeted 4 or 5 times, caught all of his passes. So and most of them were on third down. So I'm not really too nervous or anything like that. I was more nervous last week because it was the road game, but I just think we saw last week Beck really grow up a lot actually, and I really think this is going to carry over as long as they might have a slow start, but Kentucky, I ain't going to be really thinking they're going to bounce off another 280 against Georgia's defense on the ground.
But in a hypothetical where that happens,
I just think Georgia's been there, done that, even when they're down. Like, there's no panic, which you see in a lot of these teams. It's, oh no, we're down. Hit the panic button, go away from everything. All of our offensive mindset and everything. Like, you see teams go down 10-0 and all of a sudden they abandon the run.
Yeah.
Or they're abandoning the pass. Like, they're not doing that. Like, they've been there. I mean, the Ohio State game last year, the Missouri game last year, South Carolina this year, Auburn this year. Like, these guys, I think, are accustomed, are not worried about any big deficit. And I just think we haven't seen Leary do enough yet to give me any sort of nerve. And I just, looking at those third down numbers, if Kentucky's not going to be able to get Georgia off the field, Georgia's going to march right down the field, it looks like, in theory. So even if you saw, Auburn limited Georgia on the run game last week, but, I mean, they were fine. I mean, Beck threw for over 300 yards. So I think Dogs win big. I would give my score prediction. I think it's going to be 27 to, I'll say 13.
Okay. Okay.
If that 27-10, I'll say 27-10.
I was going to go 30-21.
Okay.
I think Kentucky covers the spread.
Let me double check the spread real quick. I believe it's
I had 14 and a half.
14 and a half still.
Yeah.
And over under 52 and a half. So
other key stat, Georgia has won the last 13 straight.
make it 14. Dogs win. Dogs keep rolling. Believe it pushes the win streak to 23 now. Let's see there.
Hey.
Yeah.
You guys are going to catch up with UCF's win streak.
We're going to hang just a false national title banner up too.
Hey. You know, Alabama's got a couple of those. Oop, I didn't say that.
Damn.
All right, but we'll move right on to Alabama.
Great segment way, right? Your great transition segue right there. This is the 3:30 game on CBS.
One of the most exciting games.
Yes. Probably, I was looking at the just record and ranking. Bama's 4-1, 2-0 in conference play, 11th in the country. A&M 4-1, 2-0 in conference play, not ranked. Just like, I mean, you look at Bama, who they've beaten. Ole Miss, their best win. I mean, they lost Texas.
I think the thing everybody is talking about when it comes to this game is the last 2 years. 2021 we got the 41-38 in College Station.
And Bama rolled in, I think, is a 2-touchdown favorite at least.
Yes. And then last year we got the 24-20 Alabama win, but A&M had the ball in the red zone with the last possession in the red zone.
Ball was at the 5-yard line, 5 or 6 yard line, last play of the game.
And A&M ran the worst play I've ever seen.
And I was going to say, and they might have ran the worst play ever drawn up on Mac. Although Matt Canada and the Steelers might have caught you right there. So.
No, I was thinking about that, but then I was like, but Matt Canada, I think at least if in the red zone, he would have receivers lined up in the end zone. Jimbo Fisher did not. He had his guys run.
We'd have done a jet sweep. So,
But, I think there's a lot of interesting things about this series. Up until that 2021 game, it had not really been close at all.
Yeah, it was all Bama.
I mean, there were there's the 59-0 game in 2014. There's a lot of 47-28, 52-24. I do think this game's going to be close because it sounds horrible to say, but I absolutely believe Jimbo Fisher does not game plan every game, and that he's
got Bobby now to do that.
He starts game planning for this game before any other games. This is the only game that really matters on his schedule.
I mean, maybe that's why they almost gave up a half 100 to Miami.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying, though, is that I do think A&M gives it everything in this game.
This is Bama's probably toughest game remaining. It's their final big road game. I think the only other time they go on the road is Kentucky at the end of the year because they get Arkansas, they get Tennessee, and they get LSU both at home, all at home. They go to Auburn, which has been Saban's house of horrors, but I do think they'll struggle, but they'll probably still win that. But I do think
I turned them on when I went
that the biggest thing in this game is
I didn't close the doors because
the biggest thing in this game will be about can Jalen Milroe in that offense for Bama, who has seemed at times to be staggering, will they be able to get going? Because that A&M pass rush is legit. It is very good. Problem is their secondary is susceptible to the big play. Can A&M get home fast enough?
I'll be right back. I got to run and close the door real quick, okay?
Sounds good. So we're going to go back here. So as I was saying, Bama has to be able to, take advantage of that because A&M, like I said, will give up the big play. Their defense is allowing, pretty good numbers. I mean, they've only given up about 100 and close to about 160 yards. They'll give up about a game. Bama's offense, nothing crazy. They run the ball well, but 167 yards on the ground, 195 in the air. The issue is they're giving up a lot of sacks. Second in the country in sacks, they're giving up. That's 20 in total, about 4 a game that would average out to. And problem is, A&M is second in the country in sacks on defense. They've sacked the quarterback 20 times. Vice versa, Bama, 122nd in the country in sacks allowed. Jalen Milroe has been sacked 15 times, but 20 of them have been given up. Ty Simpson's been sacked 5 times. Not good. Not good. And I really do think that could be the biggest difference maker because if Jalen Milroe is not being able to not getting time to stand in the pocket and find guys down the field or just find guys in general, it's going to be a really long day because I just don't think they're going to be able to move the ball efficiently enough on the ground to keep A&M's defense, aware of the run. And if, Max Johnson keeps playing like he has been, I mean, he's played really well since coming in. So for Connor Wegman, who got injured, 62% completion percentage, 6 touchdowns to only 1 pick. And that's only through 2 full games, not even. Came in against Auburn halfway through. So, I think A&M's offense is going to be able to move the ball. Oh, man.
Didn't mean to do that. We're okay. We're okay.
Hey, you okay?
Yeah, there's an FSU thing right behind my computer. When I sat down, my knee bumped the table behind there. But we're okay.
Nice. I was just saying how a big key stat for me, little paper pop, talking about how Jalen Milroe has got to be able to take advantage of A&M's secondary and how they will give up the big play.
Yep.
Problem is they are not giving him time. The O-line who came in the year, this was supposed to be, the big year for O-line. They're going to bully people around, throwback Bama. They're going to run the ball, smash mouth. They can't pass block. 122nd in the country. They're giving up. Miller's been sacked 15 times, 20 in total. A&M second in the country in sacks. They're averaging 4 a game. And Max Johnson's played really well since taking over Wegman. I mean, last week was his first full game, and he 62% completion percentage right now, 6 touchdowns to only 1 pick through a game and a half, maybe. I just think that it's too much A&M. I think A&M's offense is too much. It's going to be too much for a Bama team, and Bama's defense has played really well.
Yeah.
We knocked on them after the Texas game, but they've held their own. I mean, under 200, teams are only averaging about 298 on them total, which is really good. So, but I just think Bama's offense is not good enough right now.
And the funny thing is, I actually think their best defensive performance at Alabama was the USF game this year.
I honestly think they have found something. That Ole Miss game, they limited an Ole Miss team. It's averaging a little over 40 points a game to 10.
Well, I was going to say because South Florida has put up 41, 38, 42, 44. The only time they put up less than that was against Alabama. They gave up 3, and they only put up 3.
I mean, Ole Miss is 6th in the country in scoring offense. They're averaging almost 45 points a game.
Yeah,
they held them to 10.
Alabama has a good defense.
They're very good.
The problem, I think you think, is that they have a very limited offense because their offensive, like you were saying, their offensive line is not very good.
No.
And in turn, because of that, their quarterback doesn't get enough time to make his reads, and he normally is a 1 read or take off right now.
Yeah, he 69% completion percentage through what have been 6. It'll be 5 games now. 4 games for him. He didn't play USF.
Yep.
209 yards he's only thrown per game. Like they are They're not going to scare you through the air. Excuse me.
He has 6 touchdowns with 3 interceptions.
70. He's ranked 74th in the country in that stat of yards per game.
Mhm.
And another issue is Bama doesn't have anybody on the outside. Again, they have this would be like the almost probably like the second year now.
Mhm.
But they just don't have a guy that can take over a game. Jermaine
Which is
Burton
crazy.
is their leading receiver with 189 yards.
Yeah.
Evan Stewart, vice versa for A&M, who's ranked, I think, 50th in the country in
Mhm.
total receiving yards, is at 357.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 50th in the country. I didn't even look at where Jermaine Burton and them are ranked at 189. That itself, and they're not going to be able to run the ball, I don't think, very well.
No.
That's
like A&M defensive. That's what they were good at.
And that crowd is going to, the 12th man's going to be rocking. That's going to be I don't want to think it's going to get ugly because Saban's teams never let it get ugly. But
Mhm.
if A&M and if Max Johnson continues to play well like he has been, man, that it could be one of those days. But you never want to doubt Nick Saban ball club.
I agree with you there, but I do think this doesn't look good.
No,
Like this is like the setup.
could be.
This is like the to quote Kanye West, this is the Tupac in Vegas hit. We're
Sweet
being
shout
set
out
up here.
Tupac, they found your killer.
Yeah.
A little late now, but
I'm looking at right now. He's not even in the top.
100.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's lower than 200 or higher than 200.
That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know.
He's not in the top 200. So
they don't have anybody on the outside, and I just think that A&M's got too many weapons on the. I think they have too many weapons. Stewart, Anais Smith, Moose Muhammad, Anais Smith didn't play last year in this game.
Mhm.
Moose Muhammad had a really good game last year.
Yeah.
I just think A&M, they turned the ball over a little bit too much last week. But being back at home, if you win this, boy, I mean, you have a legit, really good shot, I think, of getting to Atlanta. I mean, this game, winner of this really could be the one that could take over and be the winner of the West. Because if you win this, you get 10. You have to go to Tennessee next week, but I mean, Tennessee's nothing crazy, but it's in Knoxville, so you never know. South Carolina, you're gonna win. You're at Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Abilene Christian, and then you're at LSU. Still, there's still work to be done, but this could certainly be a big stepping stone because this would put you at 3-0 in the conference, 2-0 in the what? 3-0 in the West.
3-0 in the West. In the SEC in general.
That's big. Because everybody else will have a loss. So you're going to be already a game up on everybody. Up on Bama, 2 games up maybe on some other teams. So, any other final things before you want to make any predictions?
I'm ready to predict.
All right. So, I'll let you predict this time.
I have Texas A&M 28. Alabama 27.
Wow.
I think Alabama goes for 2 and does not get it with time expiring.
Wow. Bama is currently a 1-point favorite. So it's basically a pick 'em. Over under is only 46. I think A&M wins, and I will say they are going to win 27 to. Trying to think here. I'm singling on one number, but I just don't know if they're going to be able to keep up like that. I'm going to say 27 to, I'll go 27-20.
27-20. That's fair. So you think, wow, yeah. A&M wins by a touchdown?
I do. I really do. I think this is
fair.
This could be the year for Jimbo. I think if there's been ever any year
Yeah.
It's this year. You get punched in the face early by Miami. Everyone's calling for you to get canned.
hmm
But now here you are with a chance to beat Bama, go to 5-1, 3-0 in conference play, and really put yourself in the driver's seat to,
Yeah.
put a stronghold on the rest of this division. Alrighty, so we'll move on because we have a couple more games here to talk about before we get into some other stuff.
hmm
We have LSU, Missouri, another ranked matchup. This is a very fascinating matchup,
It's a
which
weird one.
it's a weird one, which could have been a lot bigger if one team didn't lose twice already.
Mhm.
But nevertheless, both teams come in ranked. LSU 23rd. Don't know how they're still ranked. Missouri 21. LSU 3-2. Missouri 5-0. So Missouri a win away from being bowl eligible. We're going
Mhm.
bowling.
I do think it's, fun little thing to add is since I wrote my notes, the line has dropped. Was
Oh,
four
yeah?
and a half, now it's 4.
Real.
Yep. I was just looking right now on ESPN. They have the line at 4. When I was looking earlier, it was at 4.5.
Yeah, I'm just looking. A lot of these teams, there's a lot of teams out there could be punching their ticket to bowl season this weekend.
Mhm.
Just saying. Postseason
Yeah.
bound. Week 6. Getting ready for that postseason. I can hear what do they say, the player dropouts. They're sitting out. I can hear all the players sitting out of these bowl games now.
Yeah, sitting out of the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl.
Hey, don't disrespect the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl or the Las Vegas Bowl, Florida's favorite,
The Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl.
held in El Paso.
Yes, sir.
Magical El Paso, where
Mhm.
Gary Danielson gets to call that one on CBS.
Love that game.
Love that game.
I remember watching Florida State lose to Arizona State there.
I love how CBS gets all like some of the biggest games of the year,
Mhm.
and they're like, you know what, guys, you worked hard, so we're gonna reward you.
Yeah.
We're
Here's
gonna
the Sun
send you.
Bowl.
We're gonna send you to magical El Paso, where you're gonna get to middle of the pack teams from the ACC,
Mhm.
and who is it? And like the ACC and the what, Big 12 or the Big
Yeah.
10 or somewhere like that. So, but nevertheless, interesting game here, Dylan.
Yeah, I think this is a weird one because I think all logical signs would say Missouri are frauds.
Well,
I don't know how you feel.
I don't think they're frauds. I mean, they beat a solid Kansas State team.
Mm-hmm. Now, to be fair, it was on a
Don't disrespect that
61-yard field
big
goal.
old kicker from, I like to call him Wrecking Ralph. Don't disrespect old Mevis like that.
I do think you do have to, call into question the fact that their largest margin of victory was over South Dakota. What is this? What even school is this?
South Dakota.
South Dakota Coyotes. It was 35-10. They've only played one away game, and it was 38-21 over Vanderbilt. They were in a one-score game against Memphis.
To be fair, Memphis.
One-score game against Middle Tennessee.
To be fair, Memphis game was played in St. Louis. It was
That's
neutral
true.
site games.
The Middle Tennessee game, they won 23-19 over Middle Tennessee State.
I think this is a nice bounce back spot for LSU, even in a hostile spot. This just feels like a game that they've got to have, and I think knowing that their backs are against the wall, maybe still playoff contention if you win out.
No.
Because, you never know So I'm not saying they are, but I'm just saying, the Pac-12 is yet to get into the meat of their schedules. The ACC has yet to. The SEC has yet to.
Yeah.
The Big 10 has yet to. I mean, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, they're all going to play each other. Wisconsin's still in there a little bit. Hanging around. that leaves room, maybe, we haven't seen it yet before, but maybe a 2-loss team. The closest a team got was Auburn.
Yep.
They were a win away if they would have beat Georgia again in the SEC title game. They didn't.
Mm-hmm.
If LSU wins out, I mean, they still have Bama. They still have A&M. They still got Florida. You get Auburn. And if a win at Missouri convincingly would be a nice step forward. And listen, I mean, they got one of the best offenses in the country. I mean, they're 7th in the country in scoring offense. They're averaging 44 points a game.
Mm-hmm.
They are 3rd in the country in passing yards. As Jayden Daniels says. Jayden Daniels is over 1,700 yards passing.
Yeah.
They scored 49 last week and lost. That's the issue.
Yeah.
They're 118th in passing yards.
Mm-hmm.
So they're giving up almost 300 yards through the air. But, you know, I will say that helps them out, though, is Missouri is 101st in passing yards, which is no better. And you're going up against one of the most explosive offenses in the country, where they average they average 551 yards of total offense a game.
Yeah. Now, I will say, if you look at LSU so far this season, there's been moments where they've been able to play solid defense. Missouri, not as much, you know.
No, they,
maybe Mississippi State is really that bad, but
I think they're just that bad.
But you give up.
They gave
27 to Memphis, 21 to Vanderbilt. It's not pretty. They don't win pretty.
They're not going to win. I don't think. LSU's biggest concern going into the year was their secondary and their lack of depth. Yeah. And it again has showed, and that's what has allowed them to fall against Ole Miss and fall against FSU. I mean, they were winning at half at both games. Both games they were. And they both lost them. Ironically enough, they were both leading at half by 3. And they both
lost. By more than 3.
Little nugget right there. If you're a Missouri man, if they're down at half by 3,
you're winning the football game.
You're winning the football game. Just put it all in that second half money line. So,
give Eli Drinkowitz that extension.
We're talking about how bad that secondary is. Well, it doesn't get any easier because Brady Cook, stat by Josh Payton, he tweeted, was, I believe, 348 consecutive passes Brady Cook has thrown without an interception. Which is currently 5th all time in the FBS. So, and he's got Luther Burden, who was this big 5-star top recruit, I believe, and had a slow year last year. He's really starting to turn it on this year. He ranks 1st in the country in receiving yards. And he might have a field day this weekend. He might, because, again, when you're 118th in the country in passing yards allowed, you might give up some big plays.
Yeah. It's just confusing to me when I look at these. Like, obviously, the box score doesn't tell you everything, but they just struggled against Middle Tennessee.
They did.
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all.
Call that a look ahead spot. You had Kansas State the next week after.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I just think LSU is just going to be too much to handle for Missouri. For as good as Missouri is of a start they've had this year, and I do think Missouri is a very solid ball club.
I think they're bowl bound.
Oh, for sure. I mean, they're a win away from being a bowl game, and they will win at least one more game. I would promise you that.
Yeah.
I mean, Florida's going to town there, so there you go. There's your win. But I think LSU's in a spot where they got to win. What better way to do it? Go to Missouri. A big win like that is a huge boost in confidence because now it's like, okay, you get a big win against a ranked opponent. Now let's get this thing back on track.
Yeah.
We've kind of sputtered a little bit, but listen, we can get back on the road here. Highway, we're kind of going off the road a little bit. Let's get ourselves together, check the tires, make sure the nothing's flat. Let's get back on the road. Let's get back on the highway, keep on cruising. I will say if Missouri finds a way to get this into a close ball game down the stretch, they got a kicker who will pass some distance. And I know LSU's aware of that, and I certainly know that they do not want to get into that spot.
Yeah.
But I think, again, like I said, LSU should take care of business.
I mean, they should, but
Over
I guess we'll see.
under is 65, if you're wondering. So they're
I mean,
asking for a high-scoring game.
I mean, if we just look at the box score from the past couple of weeks, LSU has pretty much gotten that number alone.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
That's not crazy at all.
No.
So, I think LSU wins. You ready for predictions, or?
I am.
I'm going to go 45-28 LSU.
I'm going to go and say 41-31.
Mm-hmm.
My only reason is because LSU has shown that they can score, but they haven't yet stopped anybody from scoring.
Yeah.
And so I do think Missouri's going to put some points up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, being 118th in passing yards isn't no fluke, but neither is for Missouri being 101st. Both these defenses stink.
That's the only thing. The only thing is I give LSU the benefit that their defense can show up.
But they're 105th in scoring defense. They're giving up around Missouri's scoring total average, about 32 points per game. So,
but to be fair, I only think the only offenses that they've given up a ton of points to were good offenses.
Arkansas put 31 on them.
Arkansas's offense wasn't that bad. KJ
That was
Jefferson.
it. That was at home, and they held Arkansas to 3 red zone field goals. So, turn those field goals, 2 of them into touchdowns, and they might have another loss. That's all
Defense.
The offense is getting ahead, and the defense isn't putting them away.
Hey, at least, holding to a field goal works for me. But, we'll move on to another team.
We will move on. And Saturday night game, Notre Dame will head down to what used to be called, I believe, Papa John's Stadium for, all that.
I wish it was still called Papa John's Stadium. That was awesome.
Well, we don't need you rallying up any sides.
Wow,
anyway,
it's just Cardinal Stadium. Come on.
Well, sorry, Dylan. It's not something cool anymore. Call it Dominance. Call it Little Caesars. Actually, that'd
be dope.
I think that's the Detroit Red Wings. Anyway, fact check that. Don't know if that's right or not. Anyway, Louisville, Notre Dame, a top-ranked matchup here. I believe it's going to be number 11 or 10 versus 25.
Yep. Notre
Dame, this is their second straight road game against on prime time, third straight primetime game. They had to go through Ohio State.
Yeah.
Now they had to go to Duke.
Mm-hmm.
Two gutty splits and road or wins and losses. And now you go to Louisville, where Louisville 5-0, another undefeated team. Louisville sneaking under the radar, Dylan. Sneaking under the radar, and they don't have to play. They don't have to play Florida State. They don't got to play Clemson. They got to play Duke here in a couple of weeks, but we don't know the status of Riley Leonard.
Mm-hmm.
Their toughest game will probably be at Miami, and then they get Kentucky at home later this year.
Yeah.
Cardinals, watch out.
Yeah. All I'm going to say is, number one, we got to go to that Virginia game. Tickets are as low as $9.
I will pass on that one. If I wanted to watch crappy football, I'd go to watch my high school play. Or I could go watch Florida's run game.
Mm-hmm.
This weekend. I'm just teasing.
No. Ha. But seriously though, I do think this is one of those sneaky matchups because I feel like a lot of people aren't talking about it because they struggled against NC State, and NC State's not good.
No.
But Louisville's been pretty resilient.
They have.
They got a good coach in Jeff Brom from Purdue.
Mm-hmm.
The classic guy.
Boiler up.
No, exactly. And I mean, so far their offense has been pretty good. 39 against Georgia Tech, 56.
They're averaging almost 500 yards of total offense a game.
Yeah.
I
think the thing that impresses me most though is their passing offense, because that's never been one of Louisville's strongest.
No.
It's always been they've been a rushing first team.
They're almost averaging 300 yards. They're averaging almost 300 yards to the air and almost 200 on the ground.
Mhm. Yeah. And it just reminds me of what we said about Texas when it comes to balance.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, Louisville isn't Texas. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm
No.
saying is that Louisville has a balanced offense,
Very balanced.
and they
I
can
mean,
make some
that-
noise. Like, they can quietly make noise.
Right? I'm telling you. They will need to figure a way to stop August East, Notre Dame's running back,
hmm
and August Estime.
Yeah.
I believe I said that right. If I didn't,
hmm
apologize. He is currently ranked first in the country. Audric Estime, I apologize. Currently ranked first in the country in rushing yards.
Yeah.
Notre Dame as a whole is averaging almost 200 yards on the ground. Louisville's averaging on defense, only limiting teams to about 109 yards on the ground.
Mhm.
So if they're able to stop that, will we see a Hartman breakout game? We haven't seen that yet.
I mean, this is the team to do it against. You can look at their numbers. They don't exactly have the greatest passing defense.
No.
I will say their running back, Louisville's running back, I don't want to say this first name. His last name is Jordan.
We'll leave it there.
He's averaging 7.7 yards per carry.
Jahar. We'll say Jahar. We apologize in advance, Jahar, if you're listening.
I'm really sorry, man. Message us and tell us how to say your name correctly, please.
There you go.
But averaging 7.7 yards per carry. That's really good.
Very good.
Like, that's really good. And granted, they're not playing the strongest opponents every week, but I mean, dude.
You can't deny the numbers.
I mean, you can't deny the numbers are good.
No, yeah, very good.
Yeah. I mean, what did you have to say about this game? Any specific thoughts? This is not one that I was thinking too heavily about.
People who don't really watch Louisville football need to know that Jack Plummer is really good at what he does.
Yep.
Over 1,400 yards passing, 11 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. Like, this guy's really good.
Yeah.
Sam Hartman's really good. Does Notre Dame get maybe worn down some? Two just physical gladiator type games against two really good teams. And now you got Louisville before you got USC next week.
Yep.
I think Louisville has a legit shot to win this game. I think their passing attack is really good. And I just think Notre Dame being maybe worn out, flu fatigued some possibly going into this week. I really think this is a spot where Louisville can pounce on that.
Yeah.
And that's why I really do think I'm going to take Louisville to win this game.
I kind of feel Louisville too, man. I can't though. I don't know if I can.
I'm going to take Louisville to win. They're currently a 6.5 point dog at home.
Yeah.
I'd take them to cover anyway, but I'll take them to win too. I mean, I really do think this offense is good enough. We'll see if Hartman's able to take advantage of that passing yards allowed stat that Louisville's defense has given up. But if they're able to just limit Estime at all,
yeah,
they will win this game. And that's I'm going to take the Cardinals to win. I'm going to say, low scoring game. I'm going to go 20 to 17.
Okay.
2017.
So, I want to pick the Cardinals. I want to. I can't. I'm going to go 24-21 Irish.
All right. Nothing wrong with that. We will move on, though, to Upset Alert, where we got 4 games for Dylan and I to pick one that we think. Which team's on Upset Alert this week? We got Maryland, undefeated Maryland, heading to Columbus, take on the Ohio State Buckeyes, where Ohio State, 20-point favorite. UCF heads to Kansas. Kansas, a 1.5-point favorite. Michigan, Minnesota. Minnesota will host Michigan. Michigan's a 19-point favorite. And Fresno State versus Wyoming. Quietly, the biggest game probably to decide who gets to go or represent the
To
group
the
of
New
5.
Year's 6. Yeah.
Fresno State undefeated. Wyoming is 4-1.
I
Fresno
like
State is
Fresno,
a
bro.
6-point favorite heading into this weekend.
Oh, man.
Who is vulnerable to slip up this weekend among those 4?
I'm going to say right now, I think UCF beats Kansas.
UCF, I don't know what they may never recover from what happened last week.
That's what I thought. And then they give Malzahn an extension today. So
they were desperate. That's a desperate move.
I'm not even kidding. They gave him like a
4-year
extension today.
I know they did.
But I will say, with Kansas down Daniels for the rest of the season.
Don't believe in the Beanster.
No, I don't.
Wow.
I don't believe in him.
Wow.
So I give UCF that one. I do think Maryland covers the spread against Ohio State, but I think it's one of those games where we're talking at halftime and we're like, guys, what's up with Ohio State, man? They're losing again.
They'll just come out and
win by 2 scores. But it's only 2 scores.
We'll see if Minnesota I'll see if Minnesota can put up any fight at home. They'll row the boat in the Gophers. I will say, I think Wyoming's really good. I'm going to take Wyoming to be the one upset. Fresno State is going to be the one team on upset alert. Watch out. I think Michigan takes care of it, but could be a lower scoring game maybe.
I'm going to be repping Wyoming on Saturday, so I can't pick against them. So I'm also picking Wyoming to upset Fresno State.
All right.
Go Cowboys.
There we go. All right, we will move on to the final aspect of tonight's preview. Best bets, 9-8-1 is our season total right now. Tough weekend last weekend, but ready to bounce back for some winners this weekend. So I'm going to go Arizona plus 21.5. They have USC this weekend. Louisville plus 6. Well, actually, plus 6.5 now. I had this on there, but I'm going to adjust it. I'm going to take UGA plus or the minus the 14.5. I think this is a big game for them. Vanderbilt plus 18.5. Ain't no way Florida's covering that game.
Yeah.
Trevor Etienne's questionable. It's homecoming. Yet the Commodores will keep this within 2.5 scores. There's no way Napier's team's gonna. What happened last year? They ain't winning by 4 scores.
They're not blowing out Vanderbilt.
Kentucky didn't even. So
no. Nobody has. Vanderbilt has not been blown out this year.
No. And A&M finally taking them on the money line. So plus 102 on the money line. So got 5 winners. Of course, only 5 winners there. And hopefully we have a good week.
I think we will. I like a lot of your picks this week. Like I legitimately think. No, the only one I'm kind of nervous about is the Georgia one because I think there's a chance.
So I was going between that one and the under. It was at 48. I got to double check what it's at now. I was going back and forth, picking one of those two, but I do think this is a big breakout game, and I think the Dogs take care of it. Although you got to watch out. Mark Stoops is a notorious villain for the backdoor cover.
That's what I'm saying.
Notorious.
He's going to be quiet. He's going to be so quiet. Oh, my gosh.
He's going to keep it close enough where they're going to be down, and he will find a way to make a just stat adding. I don't even know what you call it. Just padding the stats to go down the field and score a touchdown against like the third stringers and keep this game within the line. So
I will say this. I do think it'd be very funny if a Vanderbilt team that lost to UNLV goes into the swamp and upsets Florida. Isn't Florida wearing the black jerseys too?
No, those are Arkansas. Those are next month or later.
Okay. Like that.
Nah, if they do, it's Napier's going to be packing his things up. But I don't
think he makes it.
No,
I think
they won't. They're going to they'll win. They're going to win big, but they're not going to win over more than 18. I'll tell you that. I can see that
big number.
That'll be
18.5.
That'd be like a 40. Be like a 40 to 27 game. 40 to 23, something like that.
Tickets aren't selling that well either. So I don't know how crowded it's going to be.
Maybe. Nah, it'll be crowded.
That's what I was thinking, but then I'm on here and it's like tickets for as low as $30.
Well, they're always
It's
cheap.
like, oh,
They're cheap for the
Nah.
Georgia game too. Yeah.
But that's because it's at an NFL stadium.
No.
Yeah.
Georgia? No, I'm talking about Georgia Vanderbilt.
Oh, okay. That's what I'm saying though, is that people don't go to Vanderbilt.
Well, nobody does.
People are like, you know what? I want to spend my money wisely.
Never
We're gonna
forget.
go to a different
Never
game.
forget the horrors of what we saw the field storming that Vanderbilt did last.
Yeah.
They got
The
escorted
security was
down
supposed to
the
stop
stairs.
them. Security was supposed to stop them from getting out.
Shout out to Ole Miss. They got fined $75,000 for their field storming this weekend.
Oh well, that's nothing.
No, that's coming out. That's Kiffin makes that up in 1 week of juice picks.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, hope everyone has a great weekend.
Mm-hmm.
This was week 6 preview. Make sure you guys are subscribing if you guys haven't already. Remember, we need to get to 100 subscribers by the end of the year. Get us
Closing
more,
on it.
We got to get some more subscribers, guys. We have been lacking in that department recently. So let's get that up. Let's get the viewership up. Viewership up. I don't know what I just said. Viewership up. Sorry.
Take that in post.
Take that in post. We'll have to edit that out. Find us on YouTube, Spotify. We are the College Football Talk. That was bad. We're going to get rid of that. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see you next time.
See you guys.
Peace out.